Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. So, what's all of this about? The purpose of Jesus, Buddha, the Bible, spiritual teachings is really about one thing. Emotional freedom, physical freedom, and personal freedom, including spiritual freedom. So everything that I've done on these videos for the last 3 years for sure, even the courses before, the communication courses, male to female, it really is teaching people how to step out of bondage and how to let go of it. And to be honest with you, it's really just one thing. Shift over to your right brain. Rather, open up, let go, and allow. So our whole lives, I was born in late 60s, 68, almost 69, and I remember as a little child, they would say some of the, now, at the time we didn't think this, but they were telling us some of the craziest things you could possibly tell another human being. So I'm watching this video, this YouTube short on cholesterol. So what it's saying is a lot of people where their cholesterol level is low, it'll also make their testosterone level low. And this can actually cause what they call, it causes, I would say rage, but maybe a different form. So when your testosterone is too high, it can cause you to go into a rage. Now, I'm just using this to lead up to something else, so just stay with me. So when your testosterone is too low, it can cause you to be very agitated, on edge, and very aggressive. So what have they been telling us? I know it's kind of shifting now, but what did they tell us all through the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and probably even the early 2000s? The medical profession. That cholesterol is bad for you, that you need to have low cholesterol. Absolutely not true, false. They told us that eggs were bad for us, to limit eggs. They also told us that salt was bad for us, to limit salt. Not true. They also told us instead of whole, real butter from a cow, to eat margarine because margarine's better for you. Margarine is fake. It has chemicals in it. Even as a little child, I was like, that just can't be. I mean, that's chemicals. Like, that's not going to be healthy for your body. I mean, when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old. So in my 30s, I don't remember how old I was, maybe 35, 36, I got my cholesterol test done for the first time ever. My doctor's like, hey man, we've never done your cholesterol. So I've been seeing him for about 10 years or something like that. He's, let's do a blood workup on you. I was like, yeah, okay. Now, mind you, there's this place called Fullest's Burgers. They use the meat from cows that are allowed to go out and feed naturally. Very healthy cows, so that's why I go there. But I eat cheeseburgers and bacon and, whatever. And I've got a sweet tooth, so I'll eat like, brownies or cookies, or especially back then. Not so much now for some reason. I don't even do that anymore. But I did back then. And I always drank whole milk. I just thought, why would I drink 1%? That just something's not right there. It didn't seem natural. And I also ate cheese and butter, real butter though. I just never liked the fake stuff. It just something kind of was weird to me. And I also had this rule that if I'm going to drink a soda pop or, Coca-Cola or whatever you want to call it, I want real sugar. I don't want those chemicals in my body. So about a week or two later, the doctor says, hey, come on in. I want to go over your test results. I'm like, all right, cool. He looks at them and he looked at me. He's like, are you on some kind of highly specialized diet or something? I'm like, no, I mean, I go to the gym and I lift weights and, I ride a bicycle and stuff, but no, I mean, I go to Phyllis's Burgers and I get a cheeseburger, and I every now and then I'll have bacon, and I go to pancakes sometimes at a pancake house, and I put butter on my bread, and I forget what else I said, and I said I eat cookies and stuff, and he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, why? He said something to the effect, he goes, I've never seen somebody with such good cholesterol levels. Your bad cholesterol is where it should be. It's very low, or medium to low. I'm like, okay. He goes, and your good cholesterol is really high, or it's above average or something like that. So he said it was at a really good level. So I don't remember what the terminology was, but he's like, I've never seen anybody like this in my life. He goes, oh, guess it must be just genetics. Or was I accidentally doing something good on purpose? So at this point, I believe we were in the 2000s, and I was always very much into nutrition and going to the vitamin store and talking, like one guy, Dr. Berardi, he owned his own vitamin store. He was a chiropractor and he was trained in nutrition and stuff. And I'd work with personal trainers and then these bodybuilders that were really into health and nutrition and all the molecular and structure and all that stuff of food. And so, and on top of that, I was reading like Muscle and Fitness Bodybuilding magazine, even though I wasn't a bodybuilder, but there's a lot of nutritional things you can learn from that about the cells, the red blood cells, and how this affects that. So just by reading an article, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, reading different articles and then being around people that are in this field, it kind of rubs off on you, even if it's on accident. So about this time, a couple years later after I saw my doctor, there were articles and studies coming out saying, hey, I think we made a big mistake when it comes to eggs. They said it turns out if you eat 2 or more whole eggs every day, uncooked, it can actually have a very positive effect on your bad cholesterol. So you have LDL and HDL, and I forget which one's good or bad. I think the HDL is good, but whatever. And so what happens, now watch this. I want you to just hear this out. If you eat healthy cholesterol, guess what it does? It pushes out and lowers the bad cholesterol. So I'm reflecting back on my doctor and how he was actually kind of pissed off. But the funny thing, he was in good shape, but I have a feeling he might have had high cholesterol. So anyways, so I never watched my cholesterol in my entire life. Never have, never cared, didn't make a difference. And when I got tested in my mid-30s, it turns out my cholesterol was great. And now I know why. Every day, I would take 3 or more whole eggs, crack them, put them into a blender with milk, whole milk, natural milk, raw milk, and I would add maybe half a scoop to a scoop of protein powder and maybe I don't know if I put anything else in, and I would eat that sometimes twice a day, especially when I really pushed myself and was lifting weights intensely, etc., etc. So my doctor also said, like, are you really watching your fat? I'm like, no, I just eat as much as I want, and I just work out really intensely. That's pretty much my diet. And he's like, God, you're so lucky, because I had, I think, like 9% fat at the time, something like that. Well, guess what? It turns out, now this is going to blow your mind. If you eat real, healthy fat from natural sources, guess what it does? It lowers your fat. So when your body takes in fat, it gets rid of the fat around your body. Because now it's going, oh, we're not in starvation mode. In other words, you don't have to go into the winter mode where your body has to store fat. See, when you go on a diet, especially if you're lowering your calories for a length of time, if you want to do it for 10 days or 2 weeks or something, that's fine. But if you do it for a long period of time, your body goes into storage mode, and it's like clicking into hibernation mode. And what it does is it begins to store fat because you're not getting enough fat intake. And if you're eating excess fat and excess food, your body goes, oh, we're now in plenty. It's kind of like the plants are in season. Now it's the middle of summer, late summer, fall, mid and late fall, which means there's lots of crops coming in, lots of food. So your body goes, oh, okay, now we can burn our fat, and now we can eat plenty. Guess what? My salt level, sodium, was very low. So the doctor was just looking at me. He goes, man, you just hit. When it comes to being healthy, he goes, you hit the lottery. Well, what it was I was just drinking tons of water because I was sweating a lot, I was working out a lot, and that flushes out your minerals, flushes out your sodium, etc. So I, at the time, actually had to add salt to all 3 of my meals because I would get lightheaded and pass out. One day I was in his office and I fell over, and he had to actually call in I think it was a neurologist. He had him come to the office under emergency circumstances because he wasn't sure if he wanted to check me into the hospital. He goes, man, your eyes are all over the place. So it turns out my sodium was low. I just read an article about, I'm going to say 6 months ago, something like that, maybe a year ago. And they are now finally saying that we were wrong. Most people actually need more salt than what we were telling them years ago. Now, this isn't all people. Some people have an imbalance, but that could be because you're doing something wrong with your diet. So when the doctor told me that, hey man, you are not getting enough salt for the amount that you're sweating, you need to add salt to every meal. He goes, you were super low. So I looked at him like, really? He goes, yeah. I go, I got to tell you something. Whenever I go to McDonald's, now this was, again, long. I don't go to McDonald's at all anymore now. I go, I don't know what it is, but whenever I eat McDonald's food, I feel powerful, like I can go lift weights, and sometimes I will. And he goes, yeah, it's because it's got a ton of sodium, and your body is so low in sodium that that's actually bringing you back up to normal levels, so now you're feeling strong. So I'm watching this quick 90-second or whatever YouTube short. And the guy in the video is a nutrition expert and saying, hey, your body needs cholesterol to balance out your testosterone levels, okay? So when you eat milk, whole foods, whole butter, whole milk, what else am I trying to do? Okay, one thing when they say, like, if you're going to buy a steak, get the steak with the strip of fat on it. Eat the fat. Here's what it does. You know how you get hungry all the time? Well, guess what? When you eat the fat, it burns slow, which means you don't crave, which means you're not hungry, you're satisfied. Now in college we learned something called the Krebs cycle. Okay, so when you got your proteins, your meats, like red meat, chicken, fats, right? All of those have to break down 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 cycles. And then you got complex carbs like green leafy vegetables, etc. Well, those break down maybe 4 cycles. And then you've got carbs. Those break down 2 or 3 cycles. And then you've got simple sugars, which is pretty much at the bottom. And that breaks down only 1 or 2 cycles to glutamine. Everything breaks down to glucose. So fats and meats break down the slowest, which means it gives you energy the longest and you have more fuel in your body, which means you're not going to constantly eat and you're not going to eat junk food. And it balances out your blood sugar. So here you were starving yourself to death looking at that guy that was eating a big steak of meat every day, and you couldn't figure out why he was so skinny. Because he was eating correctly. He was feeding his body natural foods, the appropriate foods. So then in this video he also says for people that eat a plant-based diet, I think he called them sterols, I forget what else are sterols, they don't really give you the right cholesterol. And therefore it throws off your brain. See, your brain loves fat and cholesterol. Your brain is essentially a fatty body. It's made up of fat. Fats and oils are really, really good for your brain and for your muscles. Your brain loves fat. It feeds off of it. It's really, really good for it. It's very, very healthy for it. Okay, so what I just went back to is plant sterols lower our cholesterol. And then he goes on to say that cholesterol makes testosterone. And he goes on to say if you have a lot of plant oils, essentially what that you get from that is plant sterol, and what that does, or what that is plant cholesterol, and what that does, it tricks your body into lowering your cholesterol. So all I'm saying right here is this: it really is healthy to eat whole foods, natural foods, from the natural sources. If you're going to eat red meat, make sure there's a strip of fat on the steak and eat that. If you're going to eat hamburger, don't get the 90-10, get the 80-20. It is really healthy for you. How do I know? Because when I eat like this, I feel calm, I feel clear-headed, and I feel a lot stronger when I go to work out. The easiest way is whole eggs in a blender, at least 2 a day. You don't have to get a protein powder that's really low when it comes to carbs. We're talking about 2 or 3 or 1, and just do like a quarter scoop, or do something, milk, water, and a little bit of flavor. It could be a little bit of chocolate or something. Because if you're not working out hard, and you're doing protein powder, it can make you fat if you don't get the right kind. So instead of getting margarine, get butter, real butter. Okay, again, when it comes to milk, get whole milk. You want the fat. It feeds your brain. It calms you down. It gets rid of the cravings. Not just milk, but milk, butter, eggs, steak, hamburger, 80-20, etc. So for those of you who haven't studied nutrition on even a basic level for the last 10 years, you're probably going, wait a minute, are you serious? Like everything they told us was a freaking lie. Even the food chart, the food pyramid, literally is upside down. I wasn't born with phenomenal genetics. I was just accidentally doing some really healthy things for other purposes. The protein was, the eggs was really, when you bench press or you lift a lot of weight, you got to get a lot of protein in you, or you can't build muscle. So I just accidentally was doing some really healthy stuff. Now here's the thing: when you eat really healthy like this, like when you eat lots of meat with fat, not lots of meat, but meat with fat and whole eggs, etc., you don't crave junk food. Now in the Krebs cycle, when you're low when it comes to fats and proteins, like slow to burn calories, you begin to crave like sugar, and you want that fast, quick high. But the problem is it'll drop you even lower. So one of my rules is make sure I get plenty of protein. The other one is make sure I eat fruits and vegetables before I eat any junk food. So if I can put enough carrots and celery and lettuce, etc., and I've eaten meat on top of that, I notice like I'm not hungry for junk food. Now let's read off a couple of the comments that these people have. This is the very reason vegans are so up in the air all the time, meaning heady. Another one says, the angry vegan is a stereotype meme for a reason, because they tend to get angry, and what I just explained is this is why. Girl says, when you're a carnivore, you are so calm. Then a guy here says, name one thing we were taught that isn't a lie. Go. I mean, there's so much stuff now that we are discovering, like, wait a minute, that they told us the opposite. When it comes to the Bible, church, God, religion, everything. One thing I began to notice is that anything that is happy, fun, enjoyable, it was demonized. Who invented or created sex? God, Mother Nature, necessity. And yet religion at one point told people you were only allowed to have sex when you were creating a baby, and you could only do it missionary style, and that's it. Otherwise you are a sinner and you're going to hell. But it wasn't just that. I mean, just being happy would upset teachers and principals and teachers at the churches. I mean, just merely by being in a good mood. I started to realize after my awakening when I was 20 years old, like, we're punished for anything that we enjoy. It doesn't matter what it is. And these are not teachings of God. These are teachings of narcissists. I'm going to give you a very simple, I don't know what to call it, a rule or a thought to live by. Anything that separates you from your body is separating you from God. Have you ever noticed when you have sex afterwards how calm and grounded and peaceful you feel? Or lifting weights, or physical work, or sports, something that's physical. Because it grounds you, it physically, energetically connects you with your body and thus the earth. And that's the way you connect with God. We really should have a lot more creative classes, such as art and music, when it comes to education. See, the right brain is the brain that's connected to your physical flesh. See, hear, feel, smell, and taste. This is how you connect to your emotions, to your feelings. This is how you gain into the present moment. When you're open to your body, your right brain, which has nerves that go down into your body, your five senses, this is how you connect to God. And any teaching that tells you that this is wrong, oh, wait a minute, doesn't the church say something like the evils of the flesh? They've done everything in their power to disconnect you. Your body is not evil. You are a creation of God. And that is a masterpiece. It is beautiful. It is an artwork. So what did Jesus say about the body? He said, the Lord resides within the temple. And then he said, the body is the temple of the Lord. Any teaching that tries to teach you to disconnect from your body or your emotions is purposely separating you from God. Period. End of sentence. Any person that shames you is doing the same thing. Because where do you feel the shame? In your body. And thus you go up into your head to escape from those painful emotions. That's why narcissists love to guilt and shame you and gaslight you and confuse you and cause doubt. Because now you want to escape from the emotional pain, and now you go into your head, into your logical brain, and thus you disconnected from the spiritual side of your body, the spiritual side of your brain, your right brain. Why do you think Jesus was talking about how we should clean each other's feet? Not just for being humble, but when you massage a person's feet, when you put oil on it, when you massage it, it brings that person's awareness and energy back inside their body. How do I know? Because I used to get feet massages all the time from my ex-girlfriend, and also when I would go to massage places, I'd get my feet massaged. Because here's why. If you've ever gone to acupuncture or looked at the charts, your tongue, your hands, your ears, and also your feet have a nerve connection to every organ in your body. From your kidneys, to your lungs, to your heart, to your brain, to your eyes, to everything. When you get your hands massaged, your ears massaged or your feet massaged, it stimulates all those areas. And this is why when you do it, it can cause a cleansing in those different body parts that you're pushing on. It opens up your neurology. It allows you to flow from one thought to another thought, from this part of your brain to the other part, versus being stuck in one neurological line. It takes you from being very limited to being expansive and having multiple neurological connections that you can shift from one to another, and also have multiple neurological connections to where everything is connected. And thus, you're operating off of a higher intelligence. You have more of your brain power, your neurology power, and you're connected to your muscle memory. See, your memories are stored in your muscles. This is why when you get your feet massaged, or even your body, and I remember my girlfriend, I'd be talking about one thing, and then she'd massage my feet like a half an inch over, and I would just completely shift conversations, but I didn't really notice it. And I noticed she would giggle. And then she'd do it another night and giggle some more. And one night she just burst out laughing. I'm like, what's so funny? She goes, you go from one conversation when you were 5 years old to another thought when you're 10 years old, another one to where when you're 6. She goes, you're all over the place. I'm like, what? So I began to pay attention, and I did. And I remember learning this in psychology class about muscle memory, how they'll push on one muscle and maybe move over a little bit, and then boom, you burst out in tears and you don't even know why. But all of a sudden you're talking about this childhood memory. And thus we have muscle memory. Being physical, whether it's deep breathing, eating whole foods, exercising, getting a massage, anything like that, stretching, it allows your body to process emotions that have been stored there since you were a child. It releases emotions. It allows you to connect to a greater level and higher level of intelligence. It's not because you're going to a higher, it's because you're expanding your neurological connections to all your memories, and thus you can connect things and you can understand things on a bigger level. Not only that, but whenever you get acupressure, acupuncture, massage, ear massage, hand massage, feet massage, I'm telling you, if there's one thing you do, feet massage or hand massage, it will ground you emotionally and it feels good. That's why some people will read the Bible and everything is separated, and then some people read it and they start connecting the pieces of the puzzle. Each verse begins to connect and they get a larger understanding of what's going on. During our NLP trainings, they would tell us after class to go for a swim, go for a walk, do deep breathing, stretch, do the yoga class across the street, get a massage across the street over there, because it integrates the teachings. Without realizing it, I used to go running at night after I do my homework, or I do push-ups and sit-ups or stretch for like half an hour. And I didn't even know why I was doing it, but I remembered I just felt a lot better. And the next day when I took a test, boom, I aced it. I had a couple of friends in college. One would go play basketball after, another one would go and lift weights. I know a couple girls who would just get a brush and just brush their hair over and over and over for 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's the same thing. You're stimulating your neurological endings. You have all your neurological endings on your head too. You're opening up your system so all the information can download and integrate with the information you already have. Do your push-ups, do your sit-ups, go for a fast-paced walk, buy a bicycle, the kind you can ride in your living room, the sitting bicycle. Get physical. Move, stretch, breathe, get your cholesterol. Because this connects you to your body. Now, I'm not saying leave your left brain. When we do this stuff, it opens the door from the left brain to your right brain, but it's not just up in your skull. It connects you to your entire nervous system, meaning your muscles, your body, everything, and thus the entire system is working together as one. This is atonement. At one, At plus 1 equals atone. It means to be at one with yourself. Your body is good. Your emotions are good. Love yourself, love your body, and love yourself. And walk away from anyone who ever tries to divide you from your body and thus God. Have you noticed that everything that they do is to divide you from yourself, divide you from God, separate you from God, to separate you from other people, other races, other religions, other cultures, other colors? It's all about divide, division, separate, and conquer. If they can separate you from yourself, they effectively separated you from God. And if they can do that, they can separate you from everyone else as well. Reconnect. Reconnect with yourself and you will see the bigger picture. Hey, this is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. If you like this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, make a comment, and as always, you can make a donation. There is a PayPal link in the description box. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.